Note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we are discussing a case out of South Carolina. And what a case it is. Sorry for being a minute late there. I was just like, I'm in a rabbit hole and I had to pull myself out because I'm like, oh my word, there's so much being shared, there's so much coming out, all over social media, on Facebook, on Reddit, on everywhere about this freaking pastor who announced to his congregation after laughing, joking, preaching a whole freaking sermon that, okay, everyone, I'm going to tell you something now. Yep, my wife died last night, and it was self-induced, like so strange words to use. And then he said, please don't talk about it, just leave the building quietly. Like, oh my word. So I'm going to show you the clip. We're going to look at a presentation. I'm going to show you everything I've got for now. Make sure if you want to follow this case with me that you are subscribed and hit all the notifications, because I will keep you posted. Because as I say, I'm in this rabbit hole now and don't see myself coming out anytime soon. Hopefully there'll be some court documents and things that I can get my hands on too to give us a clearer picture of what's going on here. But it's really a red flag, okay? Red flag case. I can understand why people are like, what really happened here? It's Sam. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's see how we go. Let me bring this up, okay? And let me first do a little presentation and then we'll look at the video. I've got some clips to show you. I've got Micah's Facebook to show you. Oh my goodness. So AC says, yo, this one leveled up my snark. I know, right? Like this is going to level up your snark. Okay, so thank you to all my wonderful patrons. If you are not on Patreon yet, go check it out for helping me get these headsets. I call them bear phones, like grizzly bear phones. They are Beats ones, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, welcome to my moderators. Thank you so much for everything you do. Members, patrons, subscribers, and everyone, members. We might actually have a members-only stream after this. I just first want to do this, okay? And then I'll let you know at the end. Let's just focus here for a second here. Cindy, thank you so much. That's right, Phoebe. I need that shovel to dig me out of this rabbit hole. Okay, so Mica Miller. I could not find her maiden name. I would love to call her by her maiden name based on what I'm learning so far about this freaking pastor who groomed her since she allegedly groomed her since she was 15 years old. Maybe even 14 is what reports are saying. Okay, so what I want to say is if there are any family members watching, if you're lurking, I hope that you'll feel safe here with us in this community. We support victims and their families. We are very protective of them in this community. And so I really hope that you'll feel safe here. And if there's anything that you want to share with me, if you want to tell Micah's story on my platform, the door is open to you. You don't have to be on camera or anything like that. We could even have just a call, or we could have a pre-recorded video, or whatever it is. I'm inviting family of Micah to come and speak here on Grizzly True Crime if they want to, if they feel comfortable to. Because I think there's a lot of information missing at this time, especially about Micah and the struggles that she was going through, and I mean with this guy. Selena, thank you so much. All right, so Mica Miller was born March 7th of 1994 in Wichita, Kansas, to Michael Francis and Angelita Ramirez. Ramirez, I think it is actually. She has one brother and 4 sisters, and she was married to, but divorcing. Very important. Put up your first red flag, everyone. She was busy trying to divorce freaking Pastor John Paul Miller. They'd been separated for a month. See, that's the kind of information I don't have is, well, had she moved out? Where was she living? Because her body was found in North Carolina, but her hometown is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Her husband lives in South Carolina. The church and the new church she attends as well is in South Carolina. So I would love to hear from family. Why would she be in North Carolina? Or was it for like a day hike? Or did she do that sometimes? Where she was found? Did she go there before? All of those types of things, right? Now, so just remember, she was trying to leave this guy who is an alleged domestic abuser and all sorts of other things. Okay, we'll get to it. So she was the stepmother of 5 children because he had a previous marriage and had 5 children with that lady. And we're going to get to allegations from social media based on what that lady went through with him. Okay. So then also anyone who's sharing information in the chat here, I might miss it. So please email me grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com with any information you have that I could add to my presentation or talk about in this case to give us some context. I see there's lots of people sharing very interesting things in the chat. And thank you so much to Michaela Knight saying Wood is her maiden name. Thank you so much. Okay, Micah Acacia Wood. Thank you. All right. Now, she was the stepmother of 5 children. And according to the obituary, which the pastor wrote, he said that they've been best friends since 2009. That would be when she was 15. Some reports say she was 14 and part of J.P. Miller's youth group when she met him at this church that he owns. He was 30 years old and married with 5 kids. So, and he was allegedly grooming her because they were best friends from when she was 14 or 15. He was a 30-year-old married man with 5 kids. I'll say it again. So he wrote, Micah was the worship leader, the graphics designer, the youth leader, the women's ministry leader, and the pastor's assistant. Okay. I hope she got paid for all of that she did for his church, right? So Micah died from a gunshot wound in Lumbar River State Park, North Carolina. Her body was apparently found on April 27th of 2024. I've got questions. Who found her? When? Where? All of that. So, okay. Now, the very next day, on Sunday, April 28th, her husband, who she had just filed a protective order against, according to her own mother, okay, and the court records. She just filed a protective order against him within 48 hours of her dying. Okay. This husband, the next day, announced to his congregation that she had died and that it was self-induced, and he had a whole narrative. My question is, how does he know? If he's like, whoa, my wife, she died in a park, gunshot wound, how can he jump to the conclusion that it was self-induced? Does he have a note? Did he fake a note? You know what I mean? Like, even that for me is a gigantic red flag that he's got a narrative already. He did an entire sermon laughing, joking, saying, how, I don't know what, humble and attractive he was, whatever it is, all kinds of things. Okay, we're going to look at the clip, laughing and joking. And then at the end, announcing, oh, last night my wife died. Yeah, she did it in North Carolina. Wow, okay. And then insisted, to his congregation, just keep on coming to church and keep on giving. Keep on giving. That's your concern right now? Because, he's going to take a little break. And wait till you see some receipts from social media, which again, take with a grain of salt, because it is social media. Gotta be careful there, but I'm just all fired up. I'm angry about the situation. But he's allegedly out, on dates already, like 4 days later, and today apparently. So, wow. Okay. So he says it was self-induced. We'll look at the clip in a moment. Now I found this little comment on Reddit which said, apparently she told her family that she thought that he would kill her and make it look like an accident or suicide. The fact that she filed for divorce in October makes it seem very likely to me. So she filed for divorce in October 2023. The case was dismissed, I think, in February of 2024. She then refiled herself, and she was adamant that she wanted nothing to do with him. She wants to divorce him. She filed a protective order, and those papers were served 48 hours before she died. Within 48 hours. Some reports say 24. Okay? Her death is being investigated by the Robeson County Sheriff's Office in South Carolina. Is it Robeson or Robeson? I don't know. Micah had apparently left the Solid Rock Church, her husband's church, and she had got baptized at a different church on March 31st of 2024. I should say through a different church, because it was like at the beach, right? We'll look at some of her clips as well. Major Damian McLean with the Robeson County Sheriff's Office said his team is still working on the case. At this stage, there's nothing to suggest a threat to the wider community, he said. And McLean added that his office plans to release more information in the next few days. So if there's a press conference or something, please email it to me. Let me know. Keep me posted. I want to know everything about this case, okay? Yeah, sarcasm for days says he announced a funeral when he announced her death. Didn't take long to plan that out. That as well. Oh my goodness. So Micah's dad said, my daughter Micah was found Saturday in Lumberton, North Carolina with a fatal gunshot wound. A no contact order and a divorce was filed just days before this tragedy. We are devastated. Prayers appreciated. Sierra, another one of my daughters, has set up a simple fundraising link. Law fees are an obstacle for us. We are an Air Force family with very limited funds. So I will put that link in the description box for you. And all the resources that I've got lined up, okay, afterwards. All right, Jean says this is a huge snark fest. Yes. Now, here's another red flag. Okay, on April 9th, Micah posted, and it's actually her, I think it's her, let me just quickly go to post. Oh no, it's her second last post on Facebook ever, okay? She posted, when terrible, terrible, terrible things happen to you, you'll know what I'm talking about. RPF, resting peace face. And then she said, hashtag still blessed, hashtag God is good. When terrible, terrible, terrible things happen to you. And she spoke on her own channel on Facebook, on her account, about abuse. My goodness. Okay, so let me quickly find the clip that I've got for you. Just hold on.
Their phone rings.
Let's just go like this and put it there. Okay, so prepare to put your snarky pants on. This is now the day after Micah is found deceased, 70 miles away from this church, away from her hometown, in a park with a fatal gunshot wound. Okay? Now, I do want to, before I play this, just say, we're going to look later again from some allegations made on social media, that apparently he had a tracker on her vehicle. He was one of these like coercive controllers, stalkers, DV aggressors, you name it. Allegedly. Okay? A lot of red flags are flying here. So look how he talks to his congregation the next day. So there's a little clip of him talking before he announces her death. Then he announces it at the end. Also note that this entire sermon is no longer available on the church website, on the church YouTube page, anywhere. Thankfully, people clipped it. When I say anywhere, I mean anywhere official or connected to him and the church. Why? Why take that down, huh? He's the owner of the church. He owns the land of the church too, right? Okay, so let me play this clip for you.
Well, the way they do it 300 years now, they just do this. Their phone rings and they just put it up to their ear. What is it? And it's the answer to their miracle. Whatever the results of the test came back. We were so sorry, we got it wrong. You don't have cancer. Or the lottery. You just won the lottery. Whatever it is going through. And your relative says, God, this is amazing. Why would you do this for me? And God says, I love you. But I didn't do this for you. You see, 300 years ago, your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents were listening to this tall, charming.
Joking. He's joking about he's talking about 300 years in the future, right? When people look back, your great, whoever, grandparents, grandkids, whoever you just said, would have listened to this tall, handsome pastor. This is the day after her death, okay? Are we getting it? The day after. This is him. This is his behavior the day after, which is what's made this go so viral.
Humble pastor. And he told them that if they'll give their life to Christ, that God won't just take care of them. He'll take care of the ones that come after him. And so I love you, but I didn't heal you for your sake. I did it because of a promise I made to them 300 years ago. That's what I want you to leave here with. Okay, that's it. Amen.
I should say trigger warning that this content obviously is about a pastor. It contains lots of religious references and things. That could be a trigger for some. So trigger warning for that, okay? Trophy wife said Robeson County, Robeson, thank you. Lived just north of there for 8 years in Cumberland County. Thank you so much, trophy wife. Okay, here we go. We had to pause because we're just like, we're building up to this. Now listen.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here.
Everybody, I'm going to make an announcement, but you're not allowed to talk about it. I don't want any feedback. This is my narrative, okay?
The building, please, if you can, so y'all can stand to your feet. before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit. 'Cause I don't want to have. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away, and it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina, and we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m.
I have to pause. Okay, I have to pause. If you want to see the full video, I put it on Patreon. It's free for everyone. Okay, you don't have to pay to join Patreon. You can actually follow it like you would follow Facebook or X or something like that. And I make public posts there too, and the whole video without any pauses is there. Okay, so the thing is, there is like, please continue to come to church and give. Number one. Two, damn, she just died the day before. He's already like, okay, so the funeral's going to be here. It's going to be here next week, Sunday. He's already planned everything. Like, what? And he said it was self-induced, not self-inflicted. It's a bit odd, right?
And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all
Adrenaline with a smirk.
pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
Why was it hard to get? I'm just saying. But, he's just like in with the victim blaming. Day one. Okay, so she died, was self-induced. It was somewhere up there, North Carolina. Yeah, funerals next week. He also wants a cremation, which thankfully, the investigation is going on now, so they're not going to do that immediately. Because I was very worried when I saw that, like, wait, what? He's already ordering a cremation. Let's wrap this thing up. Funeral next week at my church. Thank you very much. This is my narrative. Like, wow. And what he just said now is just like, well, we all knew she was mentally unwell. Now, her family and friends have said she did struggle with some mental health problems sometimes, but I can already, in my own opinion, it's my opinion, see why. If you with a jackass like this, who's allegedly a domestic abuser, who's allegedly a groomer who groomed you since and entrapped you since you were 14 years old. Okay, the good guy, the pastor, also in a place of authority, with this whole congregation looking up to him. Yeah, you might struggle a little bit with your mental health from time to time. You know what I mean? So, but how sickening that he goes right there. I'm going to go back a little bit. Look.
For her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come. But just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, my bishop, he can pray. I'll get him a microphone. He'll pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well, I appreciate it.
Come on, let's pray.
And that's it. He walks off and he's like, okay, I've got some dates to get to, because he later goes to dates and things like that. So, right. Moving right along. That was upsetting, right? Western Tina says she mentioned something in one of her videos about someone giving you illegal drugs, and she makes a face. I know, right? Nice to see you, Tina. We're going to look at those videos. So let's just continue a little bit with this presentation. I've got so much to share with you. So, okay, here we go. Again, Micah died from a gunshot wound in Lumber River State Park, North Carolina. Her body was apparently found on April 27th of 2024. I don't know, by who or how, what the circumstances of that are. On Sunday, as you just saw, April 28th, her husband, who she had just filed a protective order against, announced to his congregation that she had died and was self-induced. And, he says, you all knew that she had mental health problems. Why would the whole congregation know that? Okay, anyway, I hope the congregation learns who he is exactly based on what we are seeing so far, allegedly. It's just my opinion, okay? I'm trying to hold back, but it's just very difficult. It makes me very angry. I feel very protective, of course, over Micah and her family is very concerned about this, saying this is not right. Like the things he's saying, even in the obituary, it's not right, okay? So I'm on their side. So her death is being investigated, as I said, by the Robeson County Sheriff's Office. Micah had apparently left this church already, and she'd got baptized through another church. And Major Damian McLean said that his team is still working on the case and that they're going to release more information in the next few days. So we will see. All right? Precy says, you are crazy to do this after yesterday's 6-hour marathon. Listen, did you guys do your homework or not? please do it. Please go give that a thumbs up. That was really exhausting. But thank you for watching it, Precy. Now, this is a picture of Micah with her her 3 sisters here. I think she's got 4 sisters, 1 brother and 4 sisters. I think that's what the obituary says. But okay, there's a picture of her with her sisters. And one of her sisters, Sierra, said, there's a lot of talk already going on, so I want to set the record straight. Our sister, Mica Miller, has passed away yesterday. Please do not listen to false stories being shared about her. Micah was a God-fearing, joyful, loving woman who did not deserve the abuse she endured. If you hear anything about this from anyone other than her family, please question it. Reach out to her siblings or parents. Keep our family in your prayers, and if you have any information that needs to be shared, please contact one of us. Please respect us in this time and honor her memory with joy that she is no longer suffering. Hashtag justice for Micah. So if you do like and share this episode, please also share it with hashtag justice for Micah. That is how it is being categorized on social media. Okay? So the Horry County Clerk's Office in South Carolina court system reflects that Mica Miller had filed 3 separate support and maintenance requests since last year. The latest filing was on April 16th. Separate support and maintenance allows one spouse to receive court-ordered support from another spouse without officially divorcing. But then there was that protective order 48 hours before, right? Now let's look a little bit at Pastor John Paul Miller. This is his own little write-up on his church website where he says, Pastor John Paul Miller spent his teenage years playing the piano in churches as well as nightclubs. Okay, he thought church was for fake people who were one way in public and another way behind closed doors. Does he need a mirror? One day in his mid-20s, he gave his life to Jesus Christ. In 2006, John Paul stepped out in faith and started his first church, Solid Rock Ministry, in the Socastee Library. His first sermon was 6 minutes long because he only knew one scripture. His first congregation was his family, a few friends, and several former drug-related acquaintances. Pastor John Paul, PJP, has been involved in the music department of churches all across the Grand Strand area before starting his new church, Solid Rock at Market Common, where he has pastored since 2016. PJP has 5 children. Logan, who's married to his wife Madison, who unfortunately, I think one of these children has domestic violence charges too against their own spouse, but okay. He names all his children here. PJP and his wife Micah have a heart to love God and love people. The welcoming, real, and approachable attitude is what has won the hearts of everyone who attends Solid Rock at Market Common. Now, people who have actually reviewed the church say otherwise. They say he's verbally abusive, he's condescending, he's controlling at the church, like as a pastor. People have left the church. And when they do, they get hundreds of calls and emails and all sorts of things scolding them for leaving, which is quite something as well. Okay, let me just see. Ori. Oh, like instead of the county, that's okay. Ori County. Thank you so much, Sue. From the court site, right? Okay, so JP apparently owns the church and the land that it's on. Allegedly, his father, Wayne Miller, died in April of 2024. I have not been able to confirm that. This is from social media. Take it with a grain of salt. Apparently, he died in April 2024, and he, the father, was accused of sexual abuse in his life too, meaning that he abused lots of little boys. And I'm like, what? There's a lot of this on social media. You can go to Facebook groups for the case. There's one called Justice for Micah. There's others. There's Reddit threads, all sorts of things. I'm just mentioning a few little red flags that I find. Okay, I'm like, what? Just in case it starts building the case, okay? Redondo Beach says, wow, with the first funeral plans, what is he, like, who does he think he is? Chad Daybell? Like, I don't know. Oh my word, horrible. So he said she had struggled with suicide before. Each time we would help her through it and take her to the doctor, and we got through it and everything was fine. She even gave a few testimonies here at church that we have on video. So he means we've got archives, we've got receipts of this so that it like fits into my narrative is what it feels like he's doing. She battled suicide but got took care of her and he got her through it, said Miller. Okay, all right. So now here's a screenshot from social media where someone said, we watched a grown man groom a youth member for years. We watched him take absolutely everything from her. We watched him destroy her mentally. We watched him destroy his own family during the process. We've watched him play God over a congregation for over a decade. He's a true wolf in sheep's clothing. He has stayed untouchable. He's put himself at the top of everything. He's gotten away with all of his wrongdoings. I'm so sorry, Mica Miller. You deserve better. You deserved our help and our love. I will carry this guilt forever knowing that I should have done so much more. I can't change the past, but I'll not stay quiet any longer. to all of the old SRM members. So the church, right? I hope you feel the same. Enough is enough. We have to bring this man down from his pulpit. Pulpit. Justice for Micah. Hashtag, right? Also, here they say on the memorial service post, the only photos included here are of Micah and her abuser, JP Miller. Would have been soon-to-be ex-husband. Her memorial is being held at the church of her abuser. He's the pastor. She had recently started going to a new church and got re-baptized by them as she had a bad experience with her first baptism, which you can see in the top right-hand corner. All right, so they also said, he said there, again on the right-hand side, that she had struggled with this before, so, okay. And her family and family friends say this has to at least be looked into deeply. There's got to be some accountability here. Because, yeah, a tragic life was lost, and it's not just simple as mental health issues, said Micah's friend, Ken Young. All right? Carly Holland says, Sarge, is the Sarge here? Welcome, if the Sarge is here. Joe Jackalone. Okay, so here's some pictures, of course. This would be of JP and Micah when he proposed. That's when he got married to her. He's freaking Spider-Man. Yeah, with his web. Okay. So let's move on. I'm glad that Ellie says, I'm glad you're covering this case. Thank you. Thank you so much all for being here. I really appreciate it. So he says a memorial for Micah will be held on Sunday at 3 p.m. That's tomorrow at a Solid Rock Church. A group of her friends is also meeting there at 9 a.m. to hold a Justice for Micah rally to bring awareness to her struggles. And I think by that they mean struggles with him. Remember, the domestic violence distress signal is... Now that you're all here, if you didn't know it and you ever see someone doing this, okay, in public, even if they just quickly do it, you know that they are asking you to call the police or ask for the manager or intervene. It's probably dangerous to intervene. Better to call the police. It is a distress signal, okay? So I always share that when we share cases involving alleged domestic violence. So again, the screenshot that I have in the middle there is actually from the church site, which I've really looked at as much as I possibly can. Let's see what's going on here. Because it's his church, right? He owns it and the land. And so, wow, that entire Sunday sermon that got so badly reviewed has been scrubbed from his site, from his YouTube page, deleted, from his church site, deleted. The one where he announces to his entire congregation after joking, being all humble and tall and handsome. Yeah, that. And then announcing the death. Yeah, he's taken that off his page, which is very strange. Very strange. Now, somebody wrote on Reddit, I myself, when I saw that he wants to organize a cremation, I'm like, what? Sorry, When I saw on the obituary, there's a cremation service helping us. No, don't do that. Then somebody said on Reddit, I work in the funeral industry here locally, and there are some things going on behind the scenes that is not my place to talk about, but the ball is rolling, thankfully. No cremation would take place until the medical examiner signs off on the cremation permit. Suicides or suspected are automatically sent to the medical examiners for a second evaluation, and nothing will happen before the investigation is over. He can hold a celebration of life all he wants. Doesn't mean that the urn isn't empty on the pulpit. Goodness. Crime Spy says, use the Wayback Machine for deleted content. Usually you find it. True as well. But luckily people clipped it like crazy. Okay, now we've got lots of things to look at, lots of screenshots, okay, which is from Reddit, which is from Facebook and all of that. But what I do first want to show you actually would be this, which is Micah's Facebook page. And I really like this one. This is the last post. She said, success is not always what you see. True. So, okay, let's find her videos quickly. Videos there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go from her latest one. This is from March 31st. Okay, so she got re-baptized, on March 31st. Now, look at this one. Actually, I want to show you this one because this one is really concerning, okay? Look at this one. This is from March 22nd, okay? And she said, please share this with anyone struggling with leaving a dangerous situation because they think that God will be mad at them. #abuse awareness. #God loves you. Now this, shame, man. She was speaking out, you know? Okay, so let's have a listen to this.
So today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse. And I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or...
Damn. See, that's what Tina was talking about earlier when she's like, somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs. Like, what? Okay.
Alcohol abuse or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So, I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse, who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is, you are the bride of Christ first before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
Shame, man. You know, just speaking out about her own abuse. You know, in a way that's kind of keeping it a little bit general, but it's still, man, oh my goodness. Vicky Lane says, does it say how long they were married? I think he said that they were best friends since 2009, when she was 15, and they got married in 2017, is what I think, if I remember that correctly. Let me know, 2017. So, quite a while. Not that long, though. Wow. Okay, so she does speak out here a little bit as well. I'm going to move on now again to the presentation. I'm going to link her Facebook page so that you can see it if you want to check out some more of her videos. But that one this is the biggest red flag of all. You know, that she's speaking up. And she's almost there at the end, speaking directly to the pastor, like, oh, God hates divorce, huh? You know what else he hates? Abuse. Yeah, And I'm like, oh, wow. So, shame, man. Okay, now let's go to this. Let me just take this text off. I know the writing is quite small. I'm going to do my best to read this to you nicely. Okay, let's do it like this. So I found it important just to share some of these that I found on social media, because they give us some context, right, from people that knew her or people that just have a little bit of a more insight into the timeline. Okay, so they said, I don't ask for this often, but I'm begging you to take the time to read and share this post. I'm often leery about sharing stuff like this that I have no immediate ties to. However, I do have a best friend who will remain unnamed for his safety that was friends with this beautiful soul. Okay, so new Micah. Okay. Information I found concerning this pastor and the situation at hand. He was known for allegedly grooming his wife Micah from the young age of 15 as a member of his youth. He was several years older. Yeah, he was 30 and married with 5 kids. So he then later made her his wife or stepmother to his children, and together led a very well-known, award-winning church in Myrtle Beach. In recent months, some light has been shed on the truth in their relationship. People were shocked to hear that the pastor's wife had left him. There's only so much abuse and adultery that someone can tolerate before they finally get out. So, not to ruin his image and the love that his church has been founded on, it was his prerogative to make his wife seem as though she were mentally inept. He let this be known to the church and community members. Micah held on to her faith and stood her ground. She posted multiple videos of encouraging words on her personal Facebook and even messages about domestic violence. She left these posts public, and I'm certain she did this so that people could see her side and the truth of what was really happening. Through her separation from this vile human, she found multiple trackers. She was stalked. Some of her possessions were withheld from her. Her tires were slashed, and the rumors of her supposed mental decline continued to spread. The truth is, there was no mental decline. There was healing. There was freedom. There was a beautiful young woman getting back on her feet because she had a beautiful life ahead of her. Tires slashed. Doesn't that just remind you of like freaking Jodi Arias when you hear that? Like, oh my word. Unfortunately, this all came to a tragic halt last week after filing for a restraining order and divorce midweek. Late Saturday evening, this beautiful lady was found no longer alive. It had been stated by the man that she was separated from that it was self-induced, but those close to her know without a doubt that this is just not true, and this has to be investigated until the truth prevails. She had mentioned to those close to her who have spoken out that she had no self-harm ideation, but she was living in fear of being harmed by the one who vowed to love her. The vice of abuse and control that she lived under is no secret. If you do a quick Facebook search on #Justice for Micah, you'll see the many people who are crying out for help on her behalf. Last night, I reluctantly listened to the sermon that this guy preached merely hours after finding out his wife had been found dead. It was nothing more than a manipulative, self-incriminating confession with many smiles and jokes throughout. That was followed by an announcement at the end of the service rather than an altar call. In his announcement, he asked that no one talk about the announcement before leaving, and then he proceeded to tell his wife that his wife had died, that she struggled with mental illness and meds were hard to get to her. He then said her memorial service would be the following Sunday. The presentation of this information was absolutely gut-wrenching, as he not only shared this information with his church body, but streamed it on YouTube for the world to see. The narcissistic ways are so evident with just a few glances. How someone could turn their spouse's obituary into an article about themselves is beyond me, and we're going to look at that. Or the fact that he used her name to leave good reviews on their Google reviews just a month ago when she had gotten out of the grips of him. Whoa. In my research, it became a little less surprising just how awful this man, This man is when I began reading about his father's criminal past. A quick Google search on Reginald Wayne Miller will provide you an explanation that will make sense. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I know this is a wicked world we live in, and I'm very aware that a person such as myself has very little reach into this world. But they say if we as Christians will band together and take a stand against domestic violence, well, I'll say we as Grizzlies, like all of us, share this because what a case, right? And they say, it is my prayer that this post will reach the right people, that the eyes will be open, that the truth will prevail, and that Micah will receive the justice she so deserves. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic abuse, please say something. If you don't have anyone, you can reach out and call. Now, there's a number there. Of course, we are an international audience, so make sure you look at the DV hotlines in your area, your country as well. They said it's a 24/7 option there. If you see below posts that have been shared, as well as her cries for help from her own personal Facebook. We just saw one of them, right? Wow. Okay. So, let me just see. Joe Jackalone says the use of a firearm in female suicide cases are very rare and deserve a deeper dive into both a preliminary and follow-up investigation. Thank you, Joe Jackalone. Good point. Good point. That as well. Okay, so we continue on. I've got lots of screenshots, lots of things, lots of receipts I found for you. So this is a post that Micah shared on April 25th. Remember, she was allegedly... she died the next day, because I don't know what to say now. I would say murdered the next day, but believed to be unalived. You know, that she took her own life. I just struggle to believe that. Day before, she said, for my mental health, and she's laughing, and she said, yes, it's 10:42 p.m., and it's like a really nice looking chocolate cake and some milk. And somebody there on the right said, I had a friend named Mica Miller. She was a good singer, great heart, great energy, very sweet, humble, naive. She was 25 when I met her. I'm tired of nonsense. JP Miller is a fake. I've seen in public and behind closed doors. I don't want to do this, but if supporters of Solid Rocket Market Common want to give me some kind of info behind closed doors that I'm wrong, you're welcome to. But this is tragic, and the truth needs to come out. If this becomes just another covering some preacher, well, that's a damn shame. Grow up, people. Your church can survive, but all signs point to the truth, and the Holy Spirit always uncovers it. Mica Miller was always kind to me, and to be honest, I have stories to tell. I have stories I can tell about how she was mistreated by her husband, even in front of me. She was barely 30 years old. She just turned 30, you guys, in March, right? She was born on March 7th. She just turned 30. She says, I don't believe that she took her own life, but I don't have that proof. What I do know is that crap happens a lot in the ministry. Sure, come along, but don't have an opinion, especially if you're a woman. I tagged JP in this if he wasn't a coward and deleted in recently new Facebook. Keeping up pretenses is a full-time job. I know I'm calling people out, but it's for a reason. The madness has to stop. Micah was a product of religious narcissistic abuse. Prove me wrong. And then this person says, I dare you. Okay. Also on the right-hand side, the Robeson County Sheriff's Office said McLean added officers are in the process of gathering information from people in South Carolina and North Carolina as part of the investigation into how Miller died, right? And Micah also said, please share this with anyone struggling with leaving a dangerous situation because they think God will be mad at them. And we just saw that video as well. Okay. So now look at this. Okay, I just clipped this quickly from Daily Mail, although I've gone and scoured the court records myself. I'd love to get my hands on the documents. If anyone has them, please send them to me, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. I will also be making some FOIA requests and things like that to try to get all the information I possibly can. But here they said, now Daily Mail has learned that Micah's death came just 48 hours after her husband, from whom she'd been separated for 1 month, was served with divorce papers. Court records hint at the tumult within the marriage, with Micah first filing for divorce back in October of 2023, before withdrawing the filing in February of 12th, which we don't know why. And I would speculate it could be from threats, we've seen that before. Anyway, so later that same month, Miller filed against his wife for separate support and maintenance in a motion withdrawn on March 11th. But on April 15th, just 12 days before she was found dead, Micah filed once more and, according to friends, also sought a no-contact order against her husband. Today, her haunting Facebook posts reveal the inner conflict with which Micah had wrestled before making her decision to leave, as she sought to square her religious convictions with the prospect of divorce. But she seemed finally to have done so. Speaking March 22nd, she said, you don't have to stay in an abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether it's someone forcing you to take illegal drugs or alcohol abuse and all that stuff we just saw on the video, right? Here is a little screenshot at the bottom of the court records. As someone said, it's pronounced what? Horry. So not Horry County, Horry County. Okay, now I know. You guys always help me to pronounce it right. Okay, so you can see some screenshots of that there. We keep going. I've got so much to share with you, and I will keep you posted on this case. I'm following very closely. Brown-eyed girl, welcome. Art Lover says, forget red flags. This one is giving bright orange banners. And I'm like, oh, look at this pastor. Welcome to the internet, sir. You're now on YouTube. All the YouTubers have got hold of you. All of us. We all, I see Plunder's covered it. JLR's covered it. I'm covering it. I hope everybody covers it because, yeah, let's unpack all of this. Like, what is going on here? And sometimes one would think, okay, maybe it's just YouTubers seeing red flag. No, Laura Riches, okay? You guys know I've spoken about her often. Her podcast is called Crime Analyst. Her channel is called Crime Analyst. I've done university-accredited courses with her, which is about domestic violence, coercive control, stalking, and harassment, right? And she said on X, a South Carolina pastor, John Paul Miller, claimed his wife, Mica Miller, ended her life on Saturday, 6 months after she filed for divorce. Her family have pleaded for police to deeply investigate the sudden death. I see many red flags in this case. And if you go and look at Laura's thread on X, because people responded there, she's like, that's a red flag, that's another one, that's yet another red flag, yep, that's one. And I'm like, you see, the experts, like the top of the top, are seeing the same red flags that we're all seeing. So this is really speaking volumes. So on the right hand side, somebody I tried to clip out their names, right? They said, if any of you would like to honor Mica Miller, do not give that church or the pastor sympathy. She was in an abusive marriage with the pastor and was escaping. The pastor does not care about anyone but himself and should never be allowed to pastor. But the only person that he has to answer to is God, and God's got her in his arms right now. She's my sister, so believe what I say is true. Not trying to be nasty, but people need to know. I'm glad her family's speaking out. I hope more people do. And you know what I hope is that if people have experienced abuse with this man, that they're going to call the police department. because that will help, of course, the district attorney, if there is a case to build their case against him. The more information, the better, right? Okay, so let me just see what you guys say. Yeah, Scott Perkins says his sermon really wasn't such bad taste. It does make one be very suspicious. For me, when I first saw it, I thought, I don't know. I've seen quite a lot of dodgy pastors in my lifetime, you know. So I was like, that was weird, but I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe we're all thinking too much about it. But then I started digging. I'm like, what? A protective order 48 hours before the divorce, her videos, what the family's saying, the obituary that he wrote, which is like narcissism central. I don't even know how else to describe it. Oh my goodness. So we'll look at that, right? Pernille says, don't believe so. So I didn't see Joe Jacalone's question. But when the husband says, yeah, she died up there, North Carolina, and it was self-induced. Again, my question is, how does he know? Did she leave a note? What signs were there? How did he hear about it? Who discovered her? Oh my word. So now here is another really good post on Reddit, and it's under I think it's a North Carolina thread. So somebody said, and it's a really good timeline, thank you to the person who wrote this. I don't know who you are, but it's a really good, it's kind of like bullet points and timelines and important information. I will just say as a disclaimer, it is from Reddit. When it's from social media, one has to take it with a grain of salt, until court documents or evidence proves otherwise. But let's see what we can dig out. So Lumberton, North Carolina plays a part in this. Even though this case is new, there's so much information coming out. I'll try my best to keep things on topic and not confusing. I urge you to read until the end. It's going to end up being a huge case. There are a couple of deaths involved. But we are here mostly and most recently for Mica Miller. We're going to get to that. Victim, Mica Miller. Husband, John Paul J.P. Miller. Father of J.P. Wayne Miller. When Micah was 14 years old, she lived in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and started attending a youth group at Solid Rock Church. It was there that the 28-year-old JP started grooming her while he was married to his wife, who he shares 5 children with. His charges when he was married to her, and again, I would love to dig out some of these court records, but it says knowingly damaged property 2 times, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, possession of liquor by a minor, possession of consumed liquor by a minor, possession of cannabis, contributing to the delinquency of a child, domestic battery, bodily harm, domestic battery, physical contact, assault, and battery. Well, I'm saying all the naughty YouTube words, so please like and share, otherwise no one will see this because YouTube suppresses reach when you say all the naughty words, which are not PG-13, okay? So assault, battery of a high and aggravated nature 2 times, being on the premises after warning or refuse to leave. Wow. Jody Arias, someone saying Scott Peterson vibes, a little bit, I don't know, Chris Watsy, I don't even know. It's terrible. This is really bad. Okay, so, wow, if that's true, shame. The poor ex-wife. I hope she comes forward and speaks a little bit about this and says, yeah, this and this and this. So there he is on the right-hand side there with Micah. Obviously, he was a lot younger there. So here they say the two got married when Micah was 23 and JP was 37. JP is the owner of the church Solid Rock, and from local reviews ran off a lot of people. He had misogynistic views, would verbally attack people, and everyone feared for Micah. He verbally, financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, and sexually assaulted her throughout their marriage. I know I say the word coercive control a lot, or the phrase, but that is what this goes under. It's that type of banner. It's unfreedom. It's entrapment, which is also why Laura Richards sees all those red flags. She's a coercive control expert, okay? So yeah, Rochelle says, whatever vibes, they are horrific. I know, right? So then they say all of that abuse. If she wanted to leave, he would have her committed to the mental hospital. He openly talked about her struggles during his sermons, as did she. JP failed to mention that he was the reason for her mental struggles. He would emotionally torture her, make her watch him have sex with other women in front of her, slash her tires, stalk her, put tracking devices on her car. She was even sleeping couch to couch, terrified of him finding and committing her again. From another friend, Micah escaped JP in February 2024. Friends were hiding Micah. She found out he was doing things with the money from the church, and after that, he put her in a mental hospital again. When she got out, she told her friend, I'm not mentally ill, I'm not sick. I don't want to harm myself, and he's going to make it look like I killed myself. He's going to try to frame me. One day, I know he's going to do it. Oh, that just gave me chills. You know when people say, and we've seen so many cases like this where they say, look, man, if I get killed, it's this guy. And she said he's going to make it look like suicide. Well, guess what he did? Sounds like he allegedly did exactly that. We have no investigative proof of that yet. We will have to wait and see, but wow. Oh my goodness. So then she said he's going to try frame me. One day I know he's going to do it. The church is not listed with a Southern Baptist Convention, nor is it listed as a non-profit. This could have been what Micah found out, that he was committing tax fraud and had been for years. This last month, she started reconnecting with friends that JP had forced her to isolate from. One message from Micah to a friend on April 5th reads, "Thank you for your gentle warnings throughout the years regarding my relationship with JP. I know that you knew that I wasn't ready to get out, but looking back, your warnings were very helpful when trying to make tough life decisions. Definitely have replayed our convos in my head over and over throughout the years and wish there was something I could do to get out. And now I've done it." Smiley face. To give you an example of what this guy is like when he preaches, in February of 2024, here's part of a sermon that he read aloud to his churchgoers. "You know, a year ago, my wife, they went to Africa. They had a wonderful trip, and she came back with the idea to start a school in Africa. And 6 weeks ago, she goes to the hospital, gets out, and just leaves me, completely leaves me, drains our bank accounts, and I go, guess what? While you're talking bad about me out there, I'm building a school in Africa for over 100 kids in order for them to be fed." Goes on about God. "Then one day I'm going to preach to God about getting rich, strong, healthy, and finding a hot wife that loves Jesus. That's what I'm going to do." Then he continues to bash Micah, saying, "When my wife was in the hospital, I looked at her phone and I counted over the past 2 years, 18 people who had texted her and said, if you ever want to talk to someone about your husband, you can talk to me and say anything and I'll keep it confidential." This made him visibly angry while on stage. And those are still available on the Solid Rock YouTube page as well as the website, okay? So, yeah, Tina says those friends need to be careful. He knows who they are, right? That's also scary. Now, they said Micah filed for divorce and a protective order 48 hours before she was found dead. That is the biggest red flag for me. Biggest in this case, like, oh my word. So, 48 hours before the crime. In her final week, she made plans to get her hair cut, to get help with her car payment because she was a little short after paying the divorce lawyer, and she planned on meeting her friends at a church service on Sunday, April 28th. On Saturday, April 27th, Micah left in her work uniform to work at J. Peter's, a local restaurant. She never showed. Her body was discovered an hour and a half away in Lumberton, North Carolina. Her cause of death is a gunshot wound to the head. JP was not allowing her family to see her and was pushing for a quick cremation that was denied, and the family has seen her. Hours later, her husband holds a church service as a normal Sunday, April 29th. He has no remorse, emotion, cracks jokes during his sermon. In the last 30 seconds, he says, and I'm paraphrasing, we heard it, right? He says, "I have an announcement to ask that after you leave the church and don't talk about my announcement. Hope you continue to come to the church and give, you know." Oh, wow. He's taking a little bit of a break. Okay, so he talks about that. We've seen the video. 3 days later, her husband is seen and photographed at Coastal Grand Mall, going into a sushi restaurant with his supposed girlfriend, Susie. Now that's again rumors, allegations, social media, but damn, they are pictured together. So we're going to look at that quickly. They said 4 days later, he's seen right in this restaurant with his apparent girlfriend, Susie. She's looking at the camera with her eyebrows raised and her hand over her mouth. On May 1st, JP informed a news outlet that he could not do their scheduled interview as he was leaving town for a few days. Today, May 3rd, the church has permanently closed. If that guy goes to Bermuda, they better watch this guy. He's a major, major flight risk. Apparently, his dad had connections in Bermuda, and they think that he might go there. Okay, make sure you watch him, investigators, because he's on his way out. He's on his way out the door. Heather, welcome. Jonathan's like, oh, this dude is guilty. Well, we can't say that. Allegedly, he's looking very bad for him. So now they talk about, and this is just from social media, the girlfriend, Susie Skinner's husband's mysterious death. So apparently, JP, the pastor, has been dating this lady for 3 years. It's alleged, it's rumors, take it with a grain of salt, okay? But apparently he's been dating this lady, Susie, for 3 years, and her husband 3 years ago, so look at that timeline, got too close to the edge of the water, and he was quadriplegic, and then he fell in and died. And they're like, whoops, was it suicide or an accident? It was later ruled accidental. He was the preacher at that guy's funeral. So people are saying that's a bit sus, given the context of everything. Tiff Knox says, no fly list, right? Hope and Fear says, does he have a porthole too? I really hope not. Mary says, any press conferences yet? Not yet, not yet. So, okay, they say girl from recent photos. It was common knowledge that JP and common knowledge, because she was also at the church apparently. Okay, common knowledge that JP and Susie had been dating for years. They've been sharing food and blankets at soccer games, and they've been seen at the water park. In 2021, Susie's then husband, who was paralyzed and lived his life in a wheelchair, drowned in a pool, and it was accidental. Yes, you read that right. And I'm like, what? So here's pictures of 4 days after Micah's death, him out at a sushi place with the lady, okay? Deven Smoor says, can we say allegedly not innocent? Maybe we could say that. Allegedly not so innocent is how it's looking. Now, they say here, so-called pastor from Solid Rock Church at Market Common from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, out on a date 4 days after his wife was found dead. He said Sunday that he was grieving his wife. Sure, a funny way of grieving. I'm a man of God. It's a man that posted this. However, if you attend this church and support your pastor, stop. Pay attention to the truth surrounding you. Hashtag justice for Micah. There in the middle, they say healing hands are biblical. And in the case of Susie and Chris Skinner, that's her husband who died, her healing hands as a physical therapist for Chris led them to marriage and led Chris to Christ. In 2000, Chris was in a car accident in which the driver of the car that he was riding in was drinking. Because of the accident, he broke his neck, which left him as a quadriplegic. He was a college student at Radford University in southwestern Virginia. Susie first met Chris at the rehab center that he was admitted to in September of that year, working as his physical therapist for a couple of months until he returned to college. Right, and they had a GoFundMe at the time. J.P. Miller preached at this man's funeral. Yes, that's right, at his girlfriend's dead husband's funeral. The rumor is that JP and Susie started dating 3 years ago, when her husband died. Wow, okay. Someone says the sound is cutting out a bit. Why? Can you guys hear me? Sound check, mic check, hello. Okay, just say. So, if you guys see Jack alone here in chat, which he's here, he is retired law enforcement. He's got a lot of knowledge, with homicide investigations and things like that. So the Sarge, if you haven't checked out his channel, do check it out. I will link it for you below afterwards as well. Now, this is even later. So 4 days ago, he went to the sushi place, and this is apparently from yesterday. Okay, what? I don't know, man. What do you guys think? What do you think about this? Let me just see. Okay, you guys are saying sound is good and sound is cutting. I don't know what's going on with the sound. Erin says, thank you, Grizzly, for your hard work, for your fabulous mods. I love being a Grizzly. Thank you so much. Can you believe this? Look at him. He's having a great time with his freaking girlfriend. Allegedly. That does not look like a grieving man to me. He's still got his wedding ring on, as you can see, as well. Wow. Okay, so there's a lot of information. We're almost done with the presentation. I think we've got like 2 slides left. Let me quickly read the thing on the right-hand side screenshot. It says, oh my, this is now from Micah, between Micah and a friend. And it was actually what I read before, so maybe I don't have to read it again. You can just pause to read if you need to. But someone said, oh my gosh, I love this. It feels like a lifetime ago. And this is where Micah said, thank you for your gentle warnings throughout the years regarding my relationship with JP. And the friend said, well, I'm so glad that you never felt as though I overstepped and that you heard my heart when I said things, that I was coming from a place of love and concern and not judgment, malice, or gossip. And I'm so pleased that you're in a better place now. Of course, it would have been great if things did not end in divorce and your marriage could have been healed, but I feel like this is a new trajectory of your life, and it's going to have such a profound impact on the kingdom of God. And Micah said, yes, things are looking up and are headed in a great direction. So I think for today, we could come back to this, because this is about his dad, okay? It's just so, I don't want to overwhelm everyone. I felt a little overwhelmed. There's so much information. You could pause to read if you want to. We can go over that another time. It's about his dad allegedly being a child molester and things like that. I do not know, okay? So then they talk about the girlfriend as well, which I went over now. Let me just see. Is there another slide? There we go. Okay, so I know this is long, but it's the truth. Please take time to read. Mica Miller deserves our total honesty and support. So here I sit for almost a week mourning the death of Mica Miller, waiting, praying for answers. I've only posted on her and how I felt about losing someone who was such a sweet soul. I miss her, and I'm struggling to wrap my head around her being gone and the circumstances surrounding her death. I will not sit here and pretend that I know exactly what happened on Saturday, but I know a lot. I'm well aware in the past that Micah had mental health issues, and I witnessed her struggle firsthand. But I also know in the last few months that this has been used as a weapon to control her. The Micah I saw at the beginning of her mental health journey was not the Micah that I witnessed in the last month. The Micah that I was seeing was a grown woman trying to break the chains of an abusive marriage. When I talked to Micah last, she was making plans, moving forward and trusting God. Her faith was her shield. She had reconnected with people that she had been isolated from, myself included. She was sorting out her new normal, and God was putting the right people around her. When we had our first meeting in years, we sat at lunch and talked until dinner time, 5 hours. We had been in regular communication since that day. Cindy, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Is that from Norway? Is it in Norwegian krona? Thank you so much. I was part of Micah's church for years. We did life together during that season. Leaving the church was one of the hardest things that Brian and I ever did. A couple who left the church. Now listen to this. We loved the people in the church, but God had made it clear that we needed to go because it was a toxic environment. We endured relentless attacks from the pastor, none other than J.P. Miller. It was unlike anything we had ever experienced in ministry. God calls us where he needs us, and instead of supporting and loving us, our entire family came under attack. Pamela said, that guy looks like a real D-bag. Sad situation. I know, right? I know. Thank you so much. So this couple left and they got relentlessly attacked by the pastor, right? They say, unlike anything they ever experienced. In ministry, God calls us where he needs us, but instead of supporting and loving us, our entire family came under attack. There were attempts to sabotage us in our new church home, calls made to employers, dropping in at my place of business in the middle of my workday when I refused to answer calls. The calls, more than I can count, emails that were rants in writing. It was a nightmare for close to a month. What? That's someone who just attended the church. Maybe a friend of course, of Micah's, but I'm like, this is the lens he'll go to protect his reputation, it seems like to me, right? That ego, which is quite fragile, but he's quite sinister about it, isn't he? Based on what we're hearing here. Then they said again, this is another friend saying it. Micah wasn't just leaving a church. She was leaving her marriage. She was done. She hired a lawyer. She moved out and she was getting a divorce. She was left with nothing but her faith, her family, and her small circle of friends. Was it hard? Yes. She had her tires cut multiple times, found multiple trackers on her car, couch hopped in fear of being found, and was hospitalized by her husband when it was completely unnecessary. She confided to me that she felt like an orphan and felt that no church would ever want her because of him. What she didn't know is that a large portion of us who had experienced the wrath of exiting that church were waiting for her with open arms. I talked to her multiple times in her final week here on earth. She was making plans to get her hair cut, getting help with her car payment because she was a little short after paying her divorce lawyer, and planning to meet us for a second service at church on Sunday. My final text with her on Friday was a woman making plans to live. My goodness. Okay, so let me show you now quickly the obituary that he wrote, which has got the family upset. Her family is upset. Okay, because it's all about him. He also writes about her, but they're like, no. Like, what is going on here? So, this is what he writes, okay? Thank you all for being here. I'm so sorry if I miss a lot of your comments. I'm just trying to, make sure that I power through this very long presentation so that the live stream is not too long, because I want people to rewatch it, watch the replay. Some people miss the live stream, and if they think, oh, this is like too long for me, then they don't look, but this information is important to share, right? So please do share it, okay? Carol says the girlfriend has most likely seen a glimpse of his behavior. I wonder. Phoebe says this pastor totally stalked past churchgoers because they decided to leave his church. Horrific behavior. Yeah, and imagine then what he would do to his wife who's trying to leave him. Mica Acacia Miller, March 7th, 1994 to April 27th of 2024, age 30. Wow, he really whipped that up fast, didn't he? So it says, Mica Acacia Miller, 30 of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, passed away on Saturday, April 27th of 2024. She was born March 7th of 1994 in Wichita, Kansas, a daughter of Michael, Francis, and Angelita Ramirez. I'm just going to do it like this so you can see. She survived by her husband. We've seen this before in other cases, like, oh, shame. She survived by her husband. Okay. But it's true right now, but you know what I mean. Okay. Pastor John Paul Miller of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, stepchildren, naming all the children there, 1 brother, 4 sisters. And so he goes. Now, he describes her like this. Micah was energetic, affirming, okay, adventurous, faithful, loving, giving, forgiving, talented, joyous, creative, assertive, bold, determined, authoritative, passionate, hardworking, a risk taker, and so much more. She and JP have been best friends since 2009 when she was 14 or 15 in his youth group at church. Okay, best friends. He was, 28 going on 30, married with 5 kids, just saying, and the pastor of a church. But sure, be best friends with a 14-year-old. Because that's not weird, right, JP? Isn't that weird, guys? That's like such a red flag of my word. Lynn, welcome. Scott, thank you. I appreciate it so much. You said the hardest worker on YouTube. Thank you. I'm going to put that in my coffee piggy bank. Okay, it's a bear bank, actually. Now, he says she and JP have been best friends since 2009, married in 2017, and spent almost every single day and night together. Micah loved her little dog, Loki. She loved doing outdoor activities like waterfall rappelling, hiking, skydiving, running, and going to the beach. Micah would take on any challenge, even if it was being a vegan for an entire year. Micah was a great stepmother and an amazing wife and helpmate. She helped Pastor JP with the church in every way. And how did you repay her? Micah was the worship leader, graphics designer, youth leader, women's ministry leader, and pastor's assistant. And she did all of this with the utmost. He wrote utmost. He didn't write utmost, he wrote upmost. But okay, utmost integrity and faithfulness. Micah made the greatest of efforts to always be the best wife that she could be. She truly served Jesus and her husband with all her heart. Now this is where the family got upset because they're like, that's not true. Like, what is he saying here? This is what he writes. She always told him, wait, no. She would praise her husband after, right here, I'll highlight it for you. Family's not happy with this, her family. She would praise her husband after every church service, telling him that he was the best preacher in the world, even if it wasn't true. She also told him he was the funniest preacher in the world, even though that wasn't true either. Micah loved her family so much. She looked forward to every text from her father or brother. Like, okay, what about her mother, her sisters, her family, her friends, everyone that he isolated her from? Okay. She sought every opportunity to pour into her sisters. There were thousands of nights that she would pray out loud for God to always bless and take care of her family. They were constantly on her mind. Sorry if you're hearing the door noise. I think the cats are trying to break in. Okay. There were thousands of nights that she would pray out loud for God to always bless and take care of her family. They were constantly on her mind. Micah wanted more than anything for each member of her family to serve Jesus continually. Micah loved her. Now this is like this guy. She loved her ice bath, nice car, sauna, house, etc., meaning all the things I bought for her. Okay, but more than anything on earth was her desire to see people come to Jesus. A celebration of Micah's life will be held at 3 p.m. on Sunday, May 5th at Solid Rock at Market Common. Well, let's see how that goes if it's permanently closed right now. The family will receive friends immediately following the service. The family is requested. Are you speaking about the family? You're speaking on behalf of the family now? The family's requested that memorial, and that's a lie. They say, no, don't donate there. He says the family's requested that memorial donations be made to Dare to Care missions.com to sponsor a child in Africa. Now, well, I don't know if that does sponsor or not sponsor children in Africa, where I'm from South Africa. I don't know. But people are saying don't send to that link. The family's saying they've made their own GoFundMe link because he's going to pocket all of that, is what they said. Condolences may be made at this burrowsfh.com. Burroughs Funeral Home and Cremation Services of Myrtle's Inlet is assisting the family with arrangements. Not anymore, not the cremation right now, not what he wanted. No. There's a whole investigation going on. Hello to Dr. Berry, Psychologist Responds. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't checked out Dr. Berry's channel, please do so. It's very good. Okay, it's always nice to have a psychologist's insights as well. We've got lots of very clever people here in the chat. I love it. Thank you so much all for being here. Okay, so I've shown you that. Then there is this page called Voices in the Wilderness, and I think it belongs to Micah's mother, from what I understand. And she's posting quite a lot there. I'm just showing it to you. I'm going to link it for you in case you want to follow that. As well as, oh, there's a news clip I want to show you. There's a group called Justice for Micah, and you can join the group, and there's lots of information on there that you might want to look at. I'm going to put the GoFundMe link in the description box as well. And now I'm going to show you a news clip that I have, which is probably the last thing that we still have to go over today, and we'll keep an eye on this case, okay? We do want to see justice for Micah. All right, let me play this for you.
The unexpected death of a local pastor's wife. ABC 15's Mike Owen has been working for you to learn more about the life and death of Mica Miller. He joins us now live outside their church in Market Commons. So, Mike, what have you learned today?
Micah's friends tell me that she led women's ministry and worship right here at Solid Rock Church. While the death investigation is ongoing, her friends can't believe she's gone and they want answers. But her husband tells me she had a long struggle with mental illness. Mica Miller died last week in the Orem community. The investigation into her death started at Lumber River State Park on Saturday. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office says they're actively investigating how the 30-year-old died. Her friends remembering how she lived her life.
She had a heart for missions. When she went to Africa this time, she just fell in love. That was her heart. She'd do anything for anybody.
She's survived by her husband, the pastor at Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach. He says Micah dreamed of opening up a school in Africa and was always giving to others.
She was probably the greatest wife anyone could ask for. She was incredibly affirming. We spent every night together for hours just talking and talking and talking.
This guy, for hours just talking and talking. No. Did you see that? Do you want to see it again? Look at him go. Look at him go.
It was incredibly affirming. We spent every night together for hours just talking and talking and talking.
Can't wait for the behavior panel to get on that. Will they get on it, please? Please, can they get on it? I don't see any tears. Do you see tears? I don't see any. Shame, she sang so beautifully.
Miller says her death was a suicide, but a cause of death has not been released. But many of her friends are struggling to come to terms with that.
This has to be at least looked into deeply. There's got to be some accountability here because it's a tragic life was lost, and it's not just as simple as somebody had some mental issues.
But Miller says Micah battled mental health issues for years, even speaking openly about it to the congregation.
Look what he says.
She had struggled with suicide before. And
he says she had struggled with suicide before. He doesn't say suicidal ideation or thoughts of it. He's like, yeah, she struggled with it before.
Each time, helped her through it, took her to her doctor, and we got through it, and everything was fine. And she even gave a few testimonies here at church. We have on video of times where she had battled suicide, but God took care of her and got her through it.
So you got some archives? You think you got receipts? You think you got proof that she did this to herself? I don't think so.
Families dealing with mental health issues, the pastor at Solid Rock Church has a message.
The second you see any type of sign, get them to a doctor. The second you see it, don't wait.
See something, say something. Like him. You know what I mean? Like he's if you see something, if you know of abuse going on, like he's alleged to be a domestic abuser. Oh, okay. Yeah, say something. Because he's like, immediately call a doctor. Okay, also don't put your spouse in a mental facility like he did many times for no reason. Like, oh my goodness, allegedly. Please, the paper said, pastor has convinced himself he's the victim. This is unbelievable. Yes, he's running on adrenaline and he's hurting, he says. But it doesn't feel authentic at all, does it? Especially given the big picture, the context, what her family's saying. People are concerned. Investigators also like, whoa, okay, we need to look into this. They're investigating. They said in the next few days there should be more info. I hope there will be. I hope there'll be a press release or a press conference or something. The police do need to say something. This case is going to be huge, especially, I think on the internet, when things start getting momentum, it gets very big. So the police will have to say something. And I hope they're investigating properly because there must be justice for Micah. I don't know. I don't believe that I'll show you on the map, actually. We haven't done Maptime, where she went. And somebody said, as you saw in the screenshot, she was meant to go to work that day. She left home in a work uniform, never arrived for work. And then she's found like an hour away. That's strange. And thank you so much. Yeah, Jean says victim blaming 100. Exactly. Okay, so let me quickly show you. Let me take this off and let's do some map time. Okay, I won't keep you here for much longer. I just want to show you this on the map just so that you can see it just like this, just roughly. I don't know exactly where in the park she was found or who found her. I don't know that. But the church, the Solid Rock Church, is here in Myrtle Beach. Whenever I hear Myrtle Beach, I think of Letitia Stark because that's where she was arrested. And through FOIA requests, I've always wanted her arrest video in Myrtle Beach, and I've never been able to get it. Can we see the moment Letitia Stark was arrested in Myrtle Beach? Oh, thank you. Nonny says conservative Christian. My gut says something wrong. Thank you, Nonny. I really appreciate it. And, right? Yeah, my gut is telling me as well. Something is not right here. Not right at all. And at first, as I say, I first thought, let me just give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sure why people are thinking this is the red flag until you start digging and you're like, oh crap, this is terrible. So Solid Rock Church is over here. The church that she'd moved to was this Valorous church, still in South Carolina. Apparently, she was still working in South Carolina. She was couch surfing, basically, but staying with friends to get away from him. And then her body is found all the way up here at Lumber River State Park and crossing state lines. Does he think he's clever? If he did anything, does he think he's clever? With like crossing the border over here. Not the border, but I mean state lines. Like going from South Carolina to North Carolina. Do you think that's going to complicate things big time or what? Because we can't wait for someone like in Letitia Stark's trial, Kevin Clark, the timeline guy, crime intelligence analyst, to come along and start tracking that cell phone, those Uncle Google searches and all that type of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so let me just quickly see. Where's this tool? Where's the tool? Tool is here. Measurement. They changed things here. But okay, if we go from, I don't know exactly where she stayed, but from there to there is what, 50 miles as the crow flies. 50 miles away? That's where she's found? It's just so strange. And it's at the state park here. Look at it. Wow, like Lumber River, very wooded area. That's why I say, if family knows, did she ever go hiking there? Like, why would she be there? Why, if he did it, let's say this, because I was trying to think it through, like, okay, wait, so if he did it, this makes no sense, And you know what really troubles me is that right off the bat, from day one, he was like, oh, I got a call last night. My wife died. It was self-induced and in North Carolina. How do you know that? One would think if his wife was found shot in this area, not where she stays, more than an hour away from home, he'd be like, holy crap, who abducted her and shot her, Like all the reasons Barry Morphew gave. Barry Morphew came up with many of them. If you didn't see my 6-hour read-through, 6 hour 19 minutes of the probable cause affidavit from 2021, it's in my video section, go check it out. But he was like, it was bull elk, it was chipmunks, it's the turkeys, it's God's punishment, it's an abductor, he came up with so many things. This guy is like, oh yes, it was self-induced, not self-inflicted. He said self-induced. I'm not saying it wrong. He said self-induced. I'm like, what? And he says, where, did he hire someone to do it? Where was Miss Susie? I saw someone speculating that there was like a U-Haul truck outside of the church and people saying, what are you doing? And it just seemed strange. And their whole theory was building. And later they said, no, it was actually someone moving house. It wasn't him. But you just never know. Did he rent a car? Did he Adam Montgomery this? Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, ooh, let's rent a car. And I don't know. We'll have to wait to see what happens in this case. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot bigger than we think, right? When's the trial? Cuff him, is what I feel. That's my opinion. My opinion, and it's only my opinion. He's innocent till proven guilty, and he's actually innocent totally right now. No one's arrested him, but they better watch him because I think he's making a run for it. But in my opinion, they need to cuff this guy. Okay, so yeah, Western Tina says that wording is so sus. So sus right now. Again, we could sit here all day looking at Reddit posts, at Facebook posts, at everything that's on the group, all of that. I hope that I brought you a lot of information for the first episode on this case. I will let you know if there's more, especially if more solid info comes out, especially if the family does reach out and actually says, hey, I want to fill in some blanks there. Let's tell you more about Micah, or maybe why she would have been in that area, or more about JP. Maybe others will come forward too. Now remember to please call in your tips to the actual police, the Robeson, how do people say I must say it? Robeson County Sheriff's Office, and I put the number in the description box, right? They haven't released an official statement. They've spoken to the media saying they are investigating it, but there's nothing on their page saying anything. So I've just put their number in the description box. If you have any tips or anything that happened to you that you know of JP Miller, please call it in. It can help them build their case. If they are building a case, which I think they might be. But if you have anything to share with me to add context to what we're talking about here, please email me at grizzlytruecrime. It's grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. So thank you, Nightbot. Thank you, mods, for telling Nightbot to share it. grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com, okay? I always protect my sources. I will keep you anonymous, so please know that, okay? Yes, even when there's a documentary crew in my house and they ask me who my source was for something, still not. Never, ever do I give up names of my sources unless the source specifically says, please tell everyone my name is this and this and this. And if that serves a purpose, and if I feel it's safe enough, okay, if they specifically ask that. But just know that you can email me whatever information you have, and I'm not just going to put it on blast out there. I'm very responsible with what I do here. Okay, so thank you so much. Right, so I will keep you posted. I'm going to put all these links in the description box. And also, I want to say that now I just wanted to see if I still have energy after all of this. I will be doing a members stream right after this. I just quickly got to set it up. So if you are a YouTube member, okay, make sure that you look at the community tab in the next 5 minutes or so. I will post the link over there. You should get a notification, and let's have a members stream. Thank you so much to everyone who became a member today. Check out the members only playlist. If you haven't made it to Patreon yet, that's a totally separate thing. Go check it out. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you all again very soon. And I really hope that there will be full justice for Micah. All of us are watching. The whole world is watching now. Yeah, we see you, Pastor. Okay, bye.